Hello, it's Murray Smith here again. I'm here with Brian Crawford of IPSM Australia, the exclusive distributors of the icebreaker in Australia, which picks up meth contamination in houses. And I'm just going to ask Brian to talk about the levels of contamination and why it's a problem. Some people sort of think that we're just pushing high levels of contamination and you have to demolish your house. It's far from the truth. So just talk to us, Brian, about the levels of contamination and what might be involved briefly.
Yeah, sure, Murray. Firstly, there's three levels of contamination: low, medium, and high. The vast majority of contamination will be in the low to lower medium levels, which still needs to be remediated by specialist cleaning companies.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what about we ask you, Murray, about your experience as a landlord?
Yep.
With this.
All right. Yep. Well, we have an investment property.
Yeah.
I've put an icebreaker in the house, and when I first heard about meth contamination and the potential problem in a house, I thought it was a bit of a scam, which is quite common apparently. I'd had a little bit of a problem with our tenants. So we knew a lot of tenants. We'd had very good tenants until then. So it made me a little bit nervous, I suppose, when I heard about this. So we decided to put one in, we have, and it works fine. Now we get the weekly message saying there's been no readings, there hasn't been a problem. But one of the reasons I put it in is when I began to research it, discovered so many people have just been to hell and back with massive costs, talking about costs up in tens and tens of thousands of dollars, lost rent, and you have to borrow to get out of that. So all of a sudden the return on investment on your property plummets. You buy your property to be able to create either an income stream or capital growth or both, and you're plunged into much higher debt, and all of a sudden you're seriously stressed and thinking, how can I get out of this? And that would just be horrible. I just don't want to face that. So it's a relatively small investment for the risk, to cover the risk. We insure for fire and storm damage and all sorts of other things, and a very, very, very tiny percentage of people experience house fires, either in an investment property or their own residence. Yet we still are not prepared to take the risk that if our house is burnt down, we'd lose everything. And so it's that's really the background for why I did it.
Thanks for that.
So Brian, the last thing I want to just ask you is just talk about if a house is low to medium contamination, what might have to be done very briefly.
Well, to start with, basically the flooring, the carpets would have to be removed and replaced. Curtains, drapes, that sort of thing. Perhaps even some of the linen and stuff in the house. Tenants, all of the tenants' belongings that are porous, like kids' toys, clothes, everything, furniture would have to be removed.
Removed as in destroyed, maybe? Or?
Yes, because very hard to clean furniture. I mean, likes of lounge suites and things like that, when the chemicals have got right into the materials and things.
So at the risk of being repetitive, the big issue is that, again, a lot of people think, that just seems crazy. If it's cigarette smoke, you just wash it out. Yeah. If we spill, wine and it might smell a bit winey or beery or something, we can just wash it out. How come we can't do that with meth? But that's the message to get across, is that it's far more serious than anything else, isn't it?
It is. There's most other drugs have organic materials in them. This ice is made up of some really nasty chemicals. And they. I don't know whether this is accurate. I've even heard some people use like petrol and all sorts of stuff too. I don't know whether that's accurate. There's drain cleaners. There's battery acid. There's all sorts of really nasty stuff in it.
Okay. So the issue is that we just want to communicate, as a lot of companies in the industry are, is really that it is a risk. It's not necessarily a really high risk. There's not massive percentages of investment properties being affected, but enough that if it happens to you, the cost can be very, very substantial. The extreme that we didn't talk about, because we don't want to present as that, as what is that if this is what we're saying, is where a property has to be virtually demolished or rebuilt. That's rare, but it has happened. There is instances of that happening. So encourage you as an investment property owner to really think about this. Think what would happen if you ended up with even a $10,000 but $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 debt after having to remediate a house, lose rent. How would you cover that? Do you have it sitting in the bank because you've got nothing better to do, or do you have to go and borrow it? So if you want to ask any questions or know anything more, you can email us at zeroice, that's zeroice at theicebreaker.com.au. That'll be on the bottom of the screen on this video. And you can even book a call with us, and we'd love to talk to you. So you can book a 15-minute call and ask us anything you want, and we'll give you and send you all the information you want. So thanks for listening, and we hope to talk to you soon.